Today marks the start of the self-love series. Hello, what is up, everybody? It's so good to see you here. I am so excited to begin to share with you more of my heart. I have created the self-love series, which is going to be a 3-part series focusing on learning how to love ourselves in this new space. But it's more than just traditional self-love or third dimensional self-love, if you will. We're going to be looking at topics like the inner child, boundaries, how to balance our emotions. When I look back on my journey over these last few years, and I think about what has given me the most growth and the most confidence and the most connection, it was learning how to love myself. And I think for a long time, I thought loving myself was like buying myself a new outfit and, making sure I was taking care of my skin. Um, I didn't realize how much self-discipline, boundaries, and learning to love myself and really accept myself for who I am played such a role. And I think that as I discovered these pieces, my life really began to transform. My manifestations really began to transform. And so I want to share this because so many of these topics come up so frequently in sessions and people online just having conversation back and forth. And so I thought, what better way to come together and begin to transmute some of this energy than to do it here together. So I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad you're showing up in this space of being willing to try something new. The guides have said time and time again, we don't have anything to lose. So as I show up in this new space, I hope you do too. I can't wait to connect with you here. And I can't wait to hear all of the ways that this information shifts your heart too. I love you so much. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Self-Love Series, Part 1, The Inner Child. This is something that I have been asked to talk about the most. And so I think we'll start with just saying, know that so many people also are feeling as though they have dug into the inner child time and time and time again. And so I'm here to give you a new perspective that maybe it's not that we're to identify and just acknowledge the inner child, but maybe it's that we see how the inner child has left imprints and vibrational frequencies in our subconscious thoughts that roll in the background when we allow ourselves to be on autopilot. And how can we move past that? How can we identify those moments and shift ourselves so that we can no longer keep looking at the past and really start to move forward into the future? The inner child impacts our energy field so greatly because it was created from a space where we felt innocent and free to explore this world. And in that space of wanting to explore this reality, those little souls accepted the structure and limitations that were placed on them as they were trying to navigate this new space. And so many of the thought forms, so many of the perceptions that were brought in as a young child, they still run in the background. They still caution you as to how to navigate this reality. And the way that we can move through that is to first acknowledge where the inner child is telling you how to react now. Acknowledge where the inner child is showing up in your life and going, oh boy, slow down here. Or is it that the inner child shows up and throws tantrums in places where the inner child doesn't necessarily feel safe or feel like they have control? When you can acknowledge where the inner child is showing its resistance, you can also soothe the inner child, reparent that inner child, and give it the perspective that you now carry from the adult and the ascended adult that you are now. Give yourself space to change. Go into the memories, go into the triggers that come up. Not to dig in, not to feel bad, but to look at it. To recognize how in those moments when you were younger, this energy did serve you, whether it was serving you in having a new idea of how you were interacting in your reality, or if it was serving you to keep you protected. This energy at some point was serving you. But in serving you when you were a child, the energy as you grow and evolve, you bypass it, you outgrow it organically, whether you like it or not. And so now we feel the hindrance, we feel the vibrational difference from where we accepted this thought form or belief system and where we are now. And that's why as people grow and they accept more and more belief systems, or they have experience in the world that tells them differently than what the inner child wants to continue to believe, they'll find themselves caught in places of confusion. Acknowledge where your inner child still shows up. You can do this in the moments that you choose to take a break and pause. Even if the external reality is coming at you hard, you can go quiet and take a deep breath. You can. And in that moment, you can also reparent your inner child and tell it the truth. Let's say you're in an argument with your partner. Let them argue. Just take a deep breath. And in that moment, remind yourself, something's being ignited here. I don't have to push against it. It's not about anybody else's response. It's about how you handle yourself in the moments so that you can create energy that now serves your highest path, that now serves your highest good. When you reparent your inner child, you teach that little being inside of you that you are safe. You're safe to speak your voice. You're safe to have different ideas. You're safe to be a little loud. You're safe to be a little rowdy too. You're safe to be weird. You're safe to be creative. You're not too much. You're allowed to take up space here. This reparenting of that inner child, whether you're carrying trauma or not, that reparenting of the inner child moves the experience that any child has into a higher vibrational memory that contains much more light. And when you reparent your inner child, you create safety and confidence within you that allows you to stand in places where maybe that leap feels a little big. Maybe you're going to give a speech. Maybe you're going to write a book. Maybe you're going to choose to work within the collective in healing energy. When you can reparent your inner child and give it the love that it's always been seeking by paying attention to what it's screaming for, what it's asking for. And not just heal it, but recognize where those frequencies are still existing within you and choosing to act differently on that, choosing to respond differently in those moments. Because so much of our manifestation is coming from this energy of the inner child, so much of the energy of when the innocence was shut down. Those shutdowns are what we still carry. So acknowledge the moments when the world told you what it told you and you brought down your light to fit in. Because those vibrations, maybe not the same thoughts, but those vibrations and those frequencies are what's running this subconscious protection that you keep that is now hindering your progress. Because you don't need protection like that anymore. You don't need to shut down your light the way you were taught to back then. This world is different. And our opening is so that we can share these moments with the people around us and allow them to see that we were never made to hide who we are. When you create that safety and confidence within by reparenting the inner child, all of the sudden that inner child starts to thrive. You feel more playful, you feel more joyful. You find yourself feeling interested in creation, and not only interested in creation, but inspiration will begin to flow in because you're not shutting yourself down. The tricky thing about the inner child is not all of these thoughts and programs, all of these belief systems and thought forms that you've accepted based on your environment that you grew up in, it's not always in the forefront of your mind. So you're not going to find yourself thinking about these things all of the time. But what you will notice is that you cannot hide or separate your behavior and your inner child. So if you pay close enough attention, there's no way you can miss it. But this space calls forward accountability and being willing to see and recognize the moments that maybe you let other people hurt you and maybe you were the one that you let hurt you. And then ask yourself, maybe journal. I recommend that to everybody because journaling is such a powerful way to allow energy to reorganize and come into thought form where you can choose your truth from it. So sit down and journal what you're recognizing and what you're experiencing as you identify the places that the inner child is still living within you. And also identify the places where you need parenting. You need parenting. What do I need? Do I need my divine father to show up in this moment and give me that fire under my ass and push forward? Because I can do that. No, Crystal, you may feel a little off today, but you're going to breathe and you're going to meditate and you're going to take action anyway. And even if it's not the action that's going to get you to the result that you want in the future or by the date that you're selecting for yourself, you're still going to move forward in this energy. And then when you find more alignment, you can find the creation that fits best. When you feel off, it doesn't always mean don't do it. Sometimes it means do it, practice. You need to gather more information. You need to feel yourself in that moment so you can find out which way you want to direct yourself. Deep breath, let it connect. When you create the environment for your inner child to thrive, you create momentum in the things that you're creating right now. Because that inner child, that innocence, that holds the key to the resistance that you need to let go of to let in the light. This creates the energy that will serve your highest good because you allow yourself to be in connection with your imagination. You allow yourself to be in connection with your creation. And more than anything, you allow yourself to receive the love that the universe is giving you. Most of us have shut down the ability to receive true love, God force love. And when you think that your manifestation is hard, it's because there's an imbalance in how you're receiving love from the universe. Because when you're clear and you're receiving from the universe, the manifestations roll in. They roll in. So now what? Take time. Spend time meeting your inner child. Do inner child meditations. Not to reach into some healing, but to connect into that vibration of who you were before the world got its hands on you. And then also feel, if you need to, when the world got its hands on you, so that you can feel the difference between who God brought you in as and who the world changed you into. And then decide from that space what you want to keep and what you want to let go of. Not everything that the inner child has chosen for you is bad. But if you want to understand your frequency, if you want to understand your vibration, you need to tune into the places where the world told you who and what to be. You need to understand what you accepted as your reality from an external force, so that now as you move forward, you can still choose if that's true for you or not. If it's true for you, continue to let it empower your life. If it's not empowering your life, it's time you tell yourself a new story. Reparent that frequency into one that serves your highest good. Treat yourself as the child of light that you are. Every step is a fine tuning. Every step is just a new decision, pulling you closer and closer into the higher frequencies of who you're asking to become. There's nothing missing and there's nothing wrong. But if you want change, look at the inner child. Look at what was given to you. Look at what you accepted. And now, from the energy and the belief systems that you carry, from all of the wisdom and knowledge and remembering of who you are, compare the two. Are they in alignment? If not, then we need to reparent the inner child back into alignment with who we are now. And it's good. It's so good. It's so good. Allow it to take time if it needs to. You cannot rush this journey. But what you can do is continue to support yourself along this journey. And I think that's something all of our inner child has craved along this path. Support, universal knowing, total connection. We were never meant to detach ourselves from the knowing of who we are. Give your inner child the gift of not only remembering that feeling and basking in that energy, but allow them to see that it still lives on in you now. And how much honor that brings to the essence of who you are when you really allow yourself to be in that space. I hope you found today helpful. If you'd like to dive deeper into your inner child, I do have one-on-one sessions available. You can visit my website at crystaltheenergeticalchemist.com. I love you guys so much. I hope you're well. I hope you're letting it in. Until next time.